Winter sowing. If you do it too early, all your seeds are going to rot. If you do it too late, and you'll lose whole advantage of actually doing this entire process. And let's face it, most people are just guessing. So today's video, I'm going to show you exactly when to start putting your seeds in milk jugs and popping them outdoors to make sure you succeed when you're gardening in an incredibly cold climate like zone 2, 3, 4, 5, because right now is not the time to do it. Now, the reason why this video came to life is because the Geek Crew has been DMing me endlessly on Instagram and in the comments on YouTube asking, when do I winter sow? Tell me when to winter sow. I winter sowed and it failed last year. What did I do wrong? What you did wrong is you probably started it too soon, because there's a lot of reels, a lot of TikToks, a lot of videos on winter sowing, which is fine if you're in some of these warmer climates. Someone from Vancouver and the Geek Crew just left a comment the other day saying it's plus 10 in Vancouver at the end of February. That's great. That's perfect. But if you're in Calgary and you got a Chinook roll through in middle of March for a week or two, and everything starts growing and then it goes back down to minus 30, then you're SOL. Or if you're in Saskatoon, where I am, and it just decides to go for +2 for 2 days and then back down to minus 40, you're in trouble. So to avoid that, there are some indicators and some precautions you can take to ensure success. Okay, so what exactly is winter sowing and why do we do it? So winter sowing isn't just planting earlier. It's allowing things like natural freeze-thaw cycles and nature to decide when germination should be taking place. These milk jugs act as mini greenhouses. They protect from heavy winds. They also protect against excessive levels of water that sometimes we see in spring. They retain that humidity that sometimes we lack when we direct sow outdoors, and particularly if we're going through a drought season or a drought set of years. And not to mention, they are slightly warmer than the ambient temperatures, but only when it's sunny outdoors. If it is not sunny outdoors, it is pretty darn well near the same temp as the ambient temps outdoors. So nighttime temps, they're around the same temp inside of that little tiny container. But here's the thing. They don't protect the seeds entirely. And that's the point of winter sowing. You always hear from people who winter sow. It makes tougher seeds, more resilient seedlings, compact seedlings, seedlings that don't have transplant shock. And the entire reason why that happens is because these seedlings are exposed to situations that aren't ideal. They will begin to germinate when the soil temp is the right temperature, when the moisture is the right range, when the lighting is at the right length or intensity, and just overall hormonal signals of dormancy have been kiboshed entirely. Now, in cool climates, we have a number of different things that happen. We have sudden deep freezes. We have sudden warm spells, Chinooks, freeze-thaw cycles that are all over the map, wet, heavy snow that can and will absolutely destroy your seedlings. And then we have spring temperatures that rapidly fly around. I remember years ago, it was April 30th, and it was 31 degrees Celsius, and I went to the lake. The beach was exposed. I was hanging out on the beach, and the lake was still frozen solid. Waskesiu was still frozen solid. And I remember it was the weirdest thing ever because I had this really warm wind coming in on specifically my left-hand side. And then I had a very cold wind coming in on my right-hand side. And I was sitting at a picnic table at the beach and I was just like painting and hanging out. I was doing some acrylic painting. I used to like to sit in the forest and paint. What can I say? I'm a hippie at heart. And so I was doing this and it was just the weirdest thing. Like I didn't know, what do I wear in that? It was just, anyways, I was confused as a human being. So I couldn't imagine where a plant sits when something like that happens. So what we want to do is we want to time it perfectly for 3 things in particular. 1, cold stratification, which is something that's very difficult to achieve with just a refrigerator and as an amateur. We want to break that dormancy when it's appropriate for it to be broken. And we want germination synchronization between the lights, the temperatures, the moistures, etc. And so the biggest mistake I see is using a date on a calendar. Winter sowing in January means absolutely nothing because a January in Vancouver or Texas is different than a January in Saskatchewan or Toronto. What we want to look for more specifically are 4 key attributes. 1, we want to know if the night times are consistently still freezing. 2, we want to know if the snow is sticking around. So when it gets warm, is it staying away or is it coming back? We want to know if those forecasts are prolonged, particularly prolonged above the 10 degrees Celsius mark, because then we know we're too far behind. Number 4, we want to know if we did put a container outside, if that soil is going to be frozen. So this is actually where a test subject comes into play. Whether you choose to use an actual milk jug for winter sowing or just any sort of plastic container, whatever your weapon is, I want you to put some moisture into that soil. And I want you just to put it outdoors. I want you to use that as your barometer. What you want to do is you want to check on that. Is that soil consistently freezing? Every morning when you go out, if you were to shake it or look at it, is it frozen solid or is it kind of still fluffy and malleable? These are signs that it's time to actually get the winter sowing going. If it's a solid block, it's way too early to start this process. So say you're really itching and you want to get things outdoors, you don't care if things are frozen, you want to know what the earliest ones you can start in winter sowing setups are. And number 1 are your hardy perennials. This can include things like milkweed, echinacea, delphiniums, as well as like prairie natives like the fescues and that sort of thing. These require cold stratification. Therefore, they can take these really intense cool temps with 0 to no damage to the seed. Their seed coat is actually designed to inhibit against the freeze-thaw cycle. So them being exposed to minus 20 in a milk jug isn't going to phase these seeds whatsoever. So if you're hesitant, you're unsure, these are great ones to start off with when it comes to winter sowing. When we're talking about February to March, there are what we like to call mid-tolerant varieties. So this can include things like spinach, kale, lettuce, onions, and broccoli. What I will say with these, though, is that if you are in Chinook territory, or if you're going through a winter like Saskatchewan is right now, where you're getting like 2-3 days of +2 and then -40, and then 2, like those ones, I wouldn't start these yet. I would hold off until March with this. They don't require the stratification or the deep stratification anyways, that your other, perennials require, but they do require a soil that's somewhere around 4 to 10 degrees Celsius, which means that it could still be freezing outdoors and it still could get warm for a small period of time, but you would need that soil to consistently be between 4 to 10 degrees Celsius in order for that germination to start taking place. So it does give you a little bit of buffer if you do end up with some little mild up and down fluctuations, and it won't just necessarily germinate and trigger a whole growth process. These ones I also find are great because it helps reduce that legginess. It also helps reduce kind of that mangled appearance we can get, particularly with things like kale, lettuce, and the broccolis. I find that these don't do well in like room tour indoor grown scenarios. They do really well in cooler greenhouses as well as in winter sown situations. Tender crops that you want to wait on, and we're talking wait on for like early April, beginning of May type thing, are things like tomatoes, peppers, basils, a lot of the flowers. All of these will do terrible when they're exposed to any level of cold, seed-wise or plant-wise. Their germination rates will drop, their seeds rot really easily, and therefore winter sowing is more of a convenience thing to use these for, not necessarily a necessity. Now you're probably thinking, Ashley, I am not starting my tomatoes end of April, beginning of May outdoors in a milk jug because it's not going to work. I think you'd be shocked how quickly some of these plants grow in a winter sown scenario in and under the right conditions. So don't knock it till you try it. I don't think I'd start all my tomatoes this way. Obviously, it can go just as badly as any scenario could go. Sow your wild oats, if you will, in as many different situations as you possibly can, one of which can be winter sowing. Give it a shot. I like it when someone in the geek crew actually believes me and starts their tomatoes a little bit later than what they normally start them at. They very quickly will realize it's less stressful, less work. They're less exhausted by the time August, September comes around. And they're kind of surprised by how quickly they can grow and catch up to all the rest. So just don't knock it till you try it. Give it a shot, even if it's just with one container. And this is particularly true if we're talking like those really short varieties like early girls or Manitobas, for example. Basically anything that was on my list of like cold climate varieties, that list, give that list a shot. So here are the biggest mistakes I see and I have actually made with winter sowing because I tried this a number of different times. and failed repeatedly, because it's not something you can just simply set and forget at all times, because there are some little things that you need to take into consideration. Number one is not drilling enough holes in the bottom. You think to yourself, not much moisture can get through that tiny little hole you leave on the top. You would be shocked. You need to have holes in the bottom of that container. Next up is using heavy garden soils. We don't want to use heavy garden soils. We actually just want to use potting soil. And more specifically, I prefer an actual potting soil with perlite in it, because it allows for proper air and stuff into the actual soil system itself. Sealing the jug. You think to yourself, you don't need to do this. You need to do this in the beginning. Eventually, you're going to remove that tape. You're actually going to have to remove the top of the container during the daytime so things don't absolutely cook. But yeah, no, trust me, you're going to want to seal these bad boys out. Next up is actually letting the soil dry out entirely. So while it can let moisture in, it can also let a substantial amount of moisture out. You'd be shocked how dried out these can become, and therefore you do need to water them. I've made this mistake so many times, so it's something you want to watch for and ensure that you're doing. And then obviously we don't want to open the jugs. We don't want to be opening those jugs too soon in spring. We also don't want to be leaving them on too late, because so if we open them too soon and we leave them undone, we risk, exposure to too much wind and cool. Then if we leave them on during like middle of May, we end up cooking things. So we really want to watch our temperatures. So the general rule is that if we are 5 degrees or less, I leave everything kind of buttoned up, but I will leave the top open at all times, so long as it's not like super, super duper cold. And by super duper, I mean like minus 15 or something stupid. So I'll leave the top open, but everything else will remain shut. If I get above 5 degrees Celsius, or I know my daytime is going to get above 5 degrees Celsius and I'm leaving in the morning, I will undo the tape around the bottom and I will like prop it up a little bit, not a lot. So that's between 5 to like 10. If I'm 10 plus, that top is coming off entirely. Now you're probably thinking, well, that's way too cold. And it's cold. Don't get me wrong. It is cold. But again, the benefit to the winter sowing is kind of this springboard effect where we get super healthy plants that transplant really easily, et cetera, and so forth. And if we want to capitalize on that, exposing these plants to what would be harsh conditions otherwise is part of that process. So give it a shot. Like I said, not all your eggs in one basket though. So here's the key. Your hardy perennials, you're going to pop in between now to the beginning of April. Your leafy greens or your hardier greens, you're going to pop in from middle of April to beginning of May. For your more sensitive plants, I prefer May. Now, you can adjust this as you see fit, but the trajectory for what I'm seeing right now is that for this year. Next year, I might change my mind because it's literally that sensitive. You cannot put a date on it at all any year. So just keep that in the back of your head. You have to let me know in the comments down below if you commonly winter sow, or if this is something you're totally new to, or if it's something you just cannot be bothered with. I'd be interested to know what the answer is. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. Sharing is caring, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.